Morning guys, Karen Langston from Parents & Co. Hope you're all doing okay today. Thursday already. Gosh, here we go again. The week seems to be flying by. I'm continuing my chat on naps today, and we're talking about short naps. So I have a lot of parents that I work with or contact me with regards to what they can do with their babies who only take very short naps. And particularly a lot of mums get in touch who have babies around, anywhere from kind of like 3 to 4 months. They tend to find that this is quite an issue for them. So firstly, I want to start with, it's kind of understanding, baby's brain development. It is really normal up until about 5-6 months for naps to be really short. Anything from 20 to 120 minutes is really the norm. So don't stress and don't panic. It's something that will improve, and they will start to consolidate their naps, but it just takes a bit of time. So what I tend to find is quite often their first nap of the day tends to be the one that seems to, with many, seems to be the one that develops the fastest. So I tend to find that babies are really quite ready for their morning sleep, so will often start to lengthen that nap quicker than their afternoon naps. So what I always say is just keep working on them. Don't stress. If you start stressing, you take all the joy out of parenthood, and that doesn't do it. That's no good for anyone. When they get around I find 10 to 12 weeks, it's looking at their environment. So whereas they may have used to fallen asleep really easily in a living room, dining room, somewhere around you, and at the moment it's really bright outside, that might have been absolutely fine, but by the time they get to around 10 to 12 weeks, they may be finding it a little bit harder to fall asleep in that environment. So really thinking about their environment. So I always say that it's starting with one nap, a day in the house, in their bedroom, or where they sleep in your bedroom. So, making it darker, putting them upstairs in the room, and making it darker can really help babies quite often sleep that little bit longer. So think about the environment. We've got great video monitors at the moment as well. If you were really concerned about baby not being being on their own, then there's no harm in staying up there with them. If you find baby wakes 20 minutes after they've been asleep and they're still displaying sleepy cues, they're grizzly, they're crying, they're rubbing their eyes, well then what I would do, my first step would be to try and resettle them. So if they have a dummy, I would sorry, battery's low, I've got to charge. I would replace the dummy and see if that settled them off. Do a little bit of shushing, a little bit of patting, and actually there really is nothing wrong with actually picking up your baby and actually cuddling them and rocking and bouncing them to see if they'll go back to sleep. Actually being on you and they fall off to sleep, that's still classed as that they are asleep, and that's part that for some that can be part of their nap. So I would definitely try and resettle. I tend to suggest, to mums, anything between 5 and 15 minutes. If they've really not gone back to sleep after about 15 minutes, then I'd call it. I'd say, stop, go and carry on with your day, and try again at the next nap. But I would definitely try resettling baby before you get them up and think that's it, because the more practice they have at trying to resettle, then that is, as they get that little bit older and they're ready to consolidate their naps and knit their sleep cycles together, that will become a lot easier for them. Again, I hear a lot of parents saying, am I going to make a crux crutch for my own back by kind of cuddling and rocking them. You know, some babies makes no difference at all. So you can rock your baby, you can bounce your baby, put them down for a nap, you know, and they will sleep really well. Some will wake up after one sleep cycle, and you know, as they wake up, if they were to go back into a second sleep cycle, would actually need you to help put them back to sleep. So doing what you did before they actually went to sleep. And as they get that little bit older, you can start kind of reducing the amount of input you give them in helping them get off to sleep. As I said, I would always kind of like really try to do one nap a day in their cribs or their cots. As I said, the morning nap tends to be the one I find that babies are really ready to go off to sleep. So I would kind of like work on that one nap in their cot. Thinking about, I think as I spoke about Tuesday, we spoke about wind down time. So, you know, not just lifting baby off the mat after they've been playing and putting them straight down to sleep, you know, making sure that you give them kind of 5-10 minutes of wind down time, you know, a few little steps, a few little cues that you do to signal to baby that sleep is coming. So, and there's nothing wrong with saying that their other naps can't be on the go. So whether that's taking them out in their buggy or in a sling, absolutely fine. You know what you want to really kind of, at this stage, I'm talking about the kind of 0 to 4-5 months, what you want to really ensure at this stage is they're getting enough sleep in the day. And as I said, just focusing on one of their naps a day being in their cot or their crib can really kind of help, and as I said, takes the pressure off you. You know, you don't want to kind of give yourself undue pressure about kind of like, you know, having to have them sleep in their cribs for every nap. You know, at the moment the weather's really nice and it's nice to kind of get outside with them, and a lot of babies sleep really well in the fresh air and kind of while you're moving. I used to have a family that I worked with, and mum was really struggling with getting her little one to have a really good afternoon sleep. She loved being in the pushchair, or the pram. So actually what I suggested to mum was she had a little utility room that actually was quite dark. What I suggested to mum was to pop baby in the pram to rock her quite vigorously, and then she'd slow the rocking down, and baby would go off to sleep, and she would sleep for about 2 hours in her pram, but it enabled mum to get a really nice long nap out of her. And, you know, avoided that overtiredness. So, you know, again, it's what works for you is really important. So, you know, it is kind of, my suggestions are, don't be afraid of short naps. You know, from kind of 0 to 5 months, you know, it's the norm. It's where babies are. You know, there are little tips, there's little suggestions that I can suggest to you to kind of like help kind of maybe to start kind of lengthening those naps. So as I said, it's obviously being aware of where they're at developmentally, looking at their environment. So maybe they're now needing a calmer kind of like environment to sleep for a little bit longer. If they wake really quickly after being put down, I definitely, before kind of like, you know, calling the naps ended, I definitely try some resettling little techniques with them. And also, you know, focusing on having one consistent nap a day in their crib or cot, and making sure that, you know, the rest of their sleep, you're doing whatever you need to do to kind of get them to sleep, as I said, whether it's out in the car in their car seat, or you're kind of going out for a walk in their buggy, or they are in a sling. So I hope that helps. Just some few little simple tips to give you some suggestions that might help you to start lengthening babies' short naps if they are a baby that, you know, consistently takes short naps. Tomorrow we'll be looking at dropping naps. When's the right time to kind of start dropping a nap? And just generally kind of like recapping on daytime naps. So if you've got any questions, anything you want answered, then please send me a message. I will definitely try and answer individual questions if I can. But again, you can just message me and I'll send you a little answer kind of individually. I hope you have a really good rest of your Thursday, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I'll be on, around this kind of time, about 10:30 in the morning. So grab yourself a cup of tea or coffee and come and sit and join me. And we'll be talking, as I said, about dropping. When is the right time to start dropping daytime naps? Bye for now.